Well, I'm Ed Meyer, and I'm president of the county commissioner in District 1, but the districts, there's road districts, there's voting districts, but you vote for us as candidates at large. So, I appreciate your vote. That's the first thing I asked for. I appreciate your vote, and hopefully you can see that we are doing what we can do and what we can't do. Sit up here and list a lot of things. I've been a school teacher for a lot of years, 35 in Greater Clark. I've had some of your kids in school. The officer, I didn't teach him driver's training, but I had him in school. So when he took off like that, I had to get after him. There a little fast, but other than that, Jason's a good guy. Not like calling a cop, a policeman, a kid, though, But anyway, enjoy what I do. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy being commissioner. I had been a councilman. I'm county council before too, so I'm multifaceted. I graduated from Indiana University. My parents grew up in Jeffersonville. I was born and raised in Scottsburg, but have moved back. Mother and dad's buried out in the Walnut Ridge Cemetery, and there's some more plots for us. So it's probably where I'll end up out there. Probably for some people, probably a little bit sooner than others. But I do appreciate coming here tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to talk. There's been a lot of questions, a lot of things on the budget, misinformation on the budget. What goes on? What it is they're trying to run right now. It takes about $18.5 million in the general fund to run the government over there. That's what it takes. Any way you look at it, that's the way it has been through the years. You're saying, okay, right now the budget's $14.5 million. How can you do the difference in $14.5 million if it costs $18.5 million to operate the government? Well, that's a real good question. And like Jack alluded to there a while ago, they've spent reserves. The reserves are gone. We don't have the money there. In 08, they went through, actually 09, they went through $4 million in rainy day fund. Spent it. There has to be some, actually it's going to take layoffs is what it's going to take. You might as well admit it, that's what it's going to take. Because in the long run, right now, and he did it off just a little bit, the sheriff's department's a little over $9 million to run the sheriff's department, both the jail and the sheriff's detective people, police part of it too. So that's $9 million. You look at probation department and salaries alone, a little over $1 million. So you're at $10 million right there. We haven't talked about all the other offices and everything else you have to do. So the courts would be the second highest amount. You say the commissioners, they get to talking what it is. You got to remember the commissioner's budget are county bills. County bills. We're paying what comes in. Well, it's computers, this and that. What have we done to check it out? Well, now if it's any purchase over $500, and some of them's balked at this, any purchase over $500 has to be approved by 2 commissioners now. That's just something that you say, well, they know what they're buying. They know that, say, a computer, which is probably one of the higher dollar items. A computer. Well, what if it isn't compatible? What if somebody goes out and buys a computer that's not compatible with our what we have in it, with our IT people? We better look at that, and that's what we want to find out. It's not that we don't trust what they're buying. It's let's make sure it's compatible, works together, and obviously the office holders, and they are constitutional offices, so we can't go in there and tell them, you got to do this, you got to do that. They're constitutional offices. We had to push back from the courts a little bit on that, or one of them, said, well, you can't tell me we're a state office, and that's correct. Our judges are paid by the state, with the exception of $5,000 for each one. The county council gives each one an additional $5,000, so there's $20,000 there that they get. So there's a lot of things like that that's misinformation, and that we can't really do. Les is exactly right. One of our big things are the roads, and we're working hard. The grants are great. We have Sean Lee, who's now working too. He's our county engineer. He's worked for probably 35 years, somewhere around in there also. Well, you don't just say, okay, we've got a project we want to do. Give us some money. You have to have those projects ready to go. St. John Hill, St. Joe's referred to a lot of people. That's been on the books probably 8 years now, and it's just now come to fruition where they're working on it. It will be done pretty soon here. He mentioned Bethany and those roads. They have been in the works for a long time. Federal government came out with a thing now, we got to change our signs, colors of the signs and things like that. We're working hard on that. Some get stolen, and yes, it does happen around here, they get stolen. We put up the new type signs that they need to have out there. You know, so we like to be proactive. Now what's Ed Meyer? Like John said, well, it's time to go. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'd like to serve 4 more years. But the same thing happened at River Ridge. What if we'd have sat back, and I'm proud of River Ridge out there, and so is everybody else. You've heard about Amazon. Everybody's coming in. We've got, you heard her. And Senator Coates and Senator Lugar was one of the big ones that helped us out there. Everything came in time, just at the right time. They were in the right position. I thank Senator Lugar for helping us out there. Lee Hamilton also helped us. But what people don't realize, it costs money to pass a bill through Congress. We had to get a bill passed through Congress and went through in 9 months, which is just about unheard of. Language had come down, we changed some language, had people know a little bit about it. We went there. I got to go to Washington one time there, no expense to the county, but went there and meeting with them to see what they did. We had Joe Kernan at the time, he was lieutenant governor at that time, met us up there and met in a lot of those offices up in Washington, D.C., just to push that along so we could get it. It just didn't happen. And if it hadn't happened then, that fence would have still been up there. We wouldn't have the jobs that's coming in now. You know, everybody's talking about jobs. We've got jobs out there now. Amazon's here. There's jobs there. There's other jobs. Moving right along to the airport. I'm real proud of our airport. Somebody said, well, it's Playboys and stuff that's flying in there. Yeah, Harrison Ford flew in there. And he probably is a Playboy. But you know what Harrison Ford flew in there for? He's building, or having built, he's not building himself, a $35 million airplane that the interior is being made at River Ridge. He was here to go to River Ridge to make sure on everything that they needed there. Corporate jets. Somebody said, oh, we need to bring corporate jets in. Well, there's about 800 or 900 corporate jets come in every year, but a little over 2 jets a day, corporate jets coming in here. Whether it's Myers and whether it's a lot of banks do it. Wells Fargo comes in a lot. Jasper Engines, IU, Purdue. There's a lot of jets flying in there now that people don't know. And you say, well, it's cost us a lot of money. Yeah, it's probably $36 million, $35 million asset, 30 to 35, anywhere you want, $1 million asset. How much has the county put into that? Anybody know how much the county's put into that? No. You do?
Yeah. We used to match their grant of $50,000 a year.
Yeah. The county has put in less than 600,000 total out there. Less than 600,000 total out there. So like he said, matching grants, for every dollar we get, every dollar they spend out there, it costs Clark County 2.5 cents. 2.5 cents is what it costs Clark County. That's one of the premier airports in the state. It's the second busiest south of Indianapolis.
It's the backup
Evansville
airport,
is
backup airport for Louisville International.
Yeah, back up for Louisville International. And you say, well, now wait a minute. We're not making any money out of it. Not making any money out of it.
It's the main fueling station for the medical helicopters.
Yeah.
They all jump to there and fuel and they leave you a bill.
NDOT is going to come out in about 3 weeks. NDOT's the Indiana Department of Transportation. NDOT's going to come out in about 3 weeks saying that was about 234 the financial impact for this area, not only Clark County, but this area around. Because like I said, Jasper Engine, things like that coming in here. The financial $234 million in 1 year. Last year, the financial impact. So people, yeah, it's working. It's working, and it really helps around here. Another one, they said, well, what about just Clark County? NDOT again, it's not us saying it, it's NDOT, Department of Transportation. About $35 million a year locally. 118 jobs last year is created by that. Between 800 and 900 jobs in this area. Not just Clark, but you're talking Harrison, and some of these others. Scott, Floyd, things like that in this area. So, isn't that worth it? 118 jobs, who wouldn't invest $3 or $4 or $800,000 to get 118 jobs? See, like to offer good deal to me. So there are a lot of good things happening in Clark County. We're proud of it. We're working hard. We did have money for the storms. The storms, somebody's gonna say, well, you made money in the storms. We didn't make money in the storms across the county. But we were prepared. We had 1.5 guys, we had less, we had a couple other ladies that worked hard with FEMA to recover some costs that we had. And we worked hard. I mean, long days during that thing. Les put in tremendous amount of time, as well as I and John Perkins was here. There were just a lot of things going on. When you have a disaster in the county, main man's president of the county commissioners. That's Les right now. So, Les probably didn't see his wife very much, but he was out there working and doing it.
I did.
But we're prepared. You saw his wife? John, don't tell us that. Easy. So there's a lot going on. We're proud of it. We're willing to serve 4 more years. Thank you for having us. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them also. John?
I got 2 questions.
Don't
One,
make-
I'm a little confused. Les said that your funds come in, that the only funds you have available to use are the gas tax.
For the roads.
Pardon?
For the roads.
For the road.
For the
For the
roads.
roads.
For the
Okay.
roads.
For the highway.
That's
For the
fine.
highway
Okay.
department.
That's the list.
I
We
did not-
also, John, we also give excise tax too. They're going excise tax on your car. Now, if you drove a truck tonight, anybody drove a truck here tonight?
I didn't.
Excise tax for the trucks.
Okay,
Goes to
I'm
Marion
just
County.
confused because it.
That was a highway
The
department.
second part I got is something that is a big issue.